So It Chapter 2 is a continuation of the evil dancing clown Pennywise, so let's talk about it. Now, It Chapter 2 is one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and it's for good cause, because the first one is my favourite movie that year, and it's probably one of my favourite horror movies of all time. So hearing that It Chapter 2 is coming out this year, I was extremely excited to see how it played out. So this review, I'm going to give my thoughts on what I liked about it, and some stuff I actually didn't like about it. So, with all that said, let's actually start talking about what I liked and what I didn't like. So to kick it off with the cast, they got the perfect cast to take from the kids to the adults. You would really believe that these are the grown-up versions of those kids, especially with Bill Hader as the new Richie. And yeah, it's Richie. Having him is such a good. You actually feel like that is the continuation. James McAvoy, as always, does an amazing performance. And even though this is his third movie of this year, as far as I know, he still deserves a lot more work because he's such an amazing actor who I feel doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. And I don't know the guy's name, but the guy who plays the adult version of Eddie makes the character of Eddie a lot more enjoyable. I prefer him a lot more as an adult than as a kid, which I did not expect going into this movie. I didn't expect to find any of the adult versions better than the kid versions, but I found Eddie's character to be a lot better as an adult. And as well, Mike is a lot better as an adult as well. So I think it's because they gave them a lot more to do in this movie. So you kind of grow to those characters a lot more. So I prefer Mike and Eddie as adults. I think I prefer the rest of them as kids though. So they get some of it right. Like even the casting is brilliant though. I think Jessica Chastain's her name is Beverly. I think she's the only runt litter. I don't think she's amazing. Beverly as an adult, but the rest of them I think is perfect, and they just did an amazing job casting the adults. And of course, Pennywise, Billy Skarsgård, returns from the first movie, and he does an amazing performance as he does in the first movie. My only downside to him is he's not really a main player in this movie, even though he's the big bad. We don't really get to see him much. Like we see, probably the most scariest scene in the whole movie doesn't really involve him till the very end of it, which is the opening scene when the three or four lads beat up these two men because they're gay, and it's horrible to watch see it happen, and it's brutally real. Just see that, and then Pennywise comes in at the end. That's how. That's the scariest thing in the whole movie to see. I was trying not to look at that because it was horrible to watch, but Pennywise himself is just he's such a weird and creepy villain that I want to see more. I know people are saying, oh no, the book finished there, let's not see more, but I want to see more of this character because he's such a weird and creepy entity. I hope they don't just do it another one and it's crap. I hope they continue on and make it good, but who knows? I just think the way he makes his performance and all the weird stuff Pennywise does, and there's a scene with this little girl that is kind of on the glimpse of how he was with Georgie, and it's so creepy. And because they're adults, there's a lot more comedy to this movie than there was with the first, especially with Bill Hader's character of Richie, because he's also a stand-up comedian. He brings a lot of one-liners and comedic moments to the movie, which helps a lot, and he's got a great back and forth with Eddie, so that kind of helps the whole movie because there's a lot more comedy in it. Even Pennywise is a lot funny in this movie. I wasn't expecting this movie to be a lot funnier than the first because the first is still very funny, but this movie, I think it's more of a comedy than it is a horror because there's nothing in this movie besides the scene at the start, like I said, that I actually found scary. So I was kind of surprised that I laughed more in this movie than I got scared, which you don't really expect from a horror movie. So now that I've given all my positives to the movie, I'm going to give all my sort of negatives. Now, main thing for me was the second act really drags because there's six, I don't know, whoever loser club members there is. They have this thing where they go off by themselves, they find an item, then they get scared by Pennywise, and they come back and they keep doing it on and on again. And it was very repetitive because this is about a half an hour segment in the movie, so that's why the movie's about 3 hours long. So having this segment in the middle really makes it drag out. Like I actually went toilet for, I think it was Ben's story arc little moment in there, and I didn't miss anything because I kind of just refresh it towards the end anyway. So it's not really important. Like they could have either cut it down a lot or just taken people's segments out there because it's not very necessary to have all this huge exposition inside the movie. It just adds to the runtime a lot and just makes it a lot longer. And it's the second act really drags in because of that. Now the first act is great because you've got all the kids or all the adults coming back to Derry, all reuniting again. Second act, it does still have moments that are good, but it does drag in. And the third act was very entertaining to see. But even though the third act was very enjoyable to see, I had problems with it. Now the way they kind of shot this whole third act it was like if you've got epilepsy, don't see it because there's scenes where the light flickers, it goes black color, and keeps going on and on like for about 20-30 minutes of this whole final act, and it just keeps flashing and flashing and flashing, and it was just giving me a headache, and it wasn't enjoyable to watch it. So I'm kind of hoping when I get the Blu-ray, it might be easier to watch it on a smaller screen than a huge screen that's just flashing in your eyes. So that's the third act. I love the actual third act itself, but just the way they filmed it, I wasn't a huge fan of it. And as I said earlier in the review, the biggest downside of this was there wasn't enough Pennywise. Because it's Pennywise the dancing clown is it. He's marketing all the advertisements, the ads. He wasn't in this movie a whole lot. I don't know if it's just me. I just kind of wanted more of Pennywise. And I was just surprised we didn't get a lot more. Overall, I really, really loved this movie. I don't think I loved it more than the first. I think I do really like it, but it's not on the same level as the first movie. I think it's close because there's a lot of that adult stuff I really enjoyed, where people always say, I don't like the adult stuff of the original movie and of the book. So I think they really did it well in this movie, having the adult stuff. I liked there was a Stephen King cameo, which I'm fairly confident to say that was Stephen King. That was brilliant. But I think the first one is still better. If you haven't seen this one, definitely go out and see it. I say it is a good cinema experience, but especially if you've seen the first one, you're gonna want to go see this one. But if you haven't seen the first one, you need to see the first one, see the second one. It's not like when you can just walk in, because they do kind of refresh a bit in this movie, but you still need to see the first one. So I highly recommend you seeing this weekend, because there is some stuff you could get spoiled for you. That I knew some stuff because of the book and the original movie. I haven't read or seen, but I just heard stuff about it. But there was still some stuff in the movie that surprised me, so you kind of want to be surprised going into this. So if you haven't seen it, just go see it as fast as you can. And during the week I did my It Chapter 1 review. If you want to go back and watch that, you can also click subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.